Riley and Lily each called Rachel to come down to the parking garage to settle Riley's argument with Kevin. When she got there, Rachel immediately told Kevin she was sorry for her brother's behavior and then made him apologize to both Kevin and Melody. Seeing how frightened Riley looked, Melody was speechless for a moment. The two of them had been college classmates in Chicago. Back in school, Riley bullied her a lot because she was from a small farming town outside the city. But Melody was extremely kind-hearted, so she didn't really hate him for this. Melody looked at Kevin and tried to figure him out. She realized that this unassuming young man in shabby clothes was actually incredibly powerful, and Riley's fate was now in his hands. "Forgive him?" Kevin asked as though he didn't comprehend. Of course he understood what Melody meant. "Actually, he didn't do anything wrong. Please, let him off the hook," Melody replied. She was obviously very good-natured. "Oh, all right," Kevin said with a smirk as he gave Riley a strong slap on the back. "But from now on, you'd better behave yourself. Don't embarrass your sister anymore. Now get lost." In fact, Kevin didn't want Riley to be punished too hard. It wasn't worth it for Kevin to get angry. Besides, he was Rachel's younger brother, so he was willing to cut the guy some slack. "Thank you, sir," Riley answered him as he wiped the sweat off his forehead. He felt like he'd just gotten a reprieve from the governor. He straightened out his clothes as he walked away with Cindy. When the two of them were out of earshot, Cindy whispered to him, "Are you okay, Riley? Now what are we going to do to have some fun?" "You're on your own, and don't bother calling me again," he barked at her. Then he walked away, leaving her wondering what had just happened. He was really angry with Cindy. It had actually been her idea to go after Melody, and look how that had turned out. Not only had he been taught a lesson, but he'd almost gotten his sister Rachel in big trouble with her boss. Rachel let out a long sigh and wondered what to do next. It was a good thing that Kevin wasn't upset with her, or else things wouldn't have turned out so well. "Go on back to work. Don't worry about me and Lily. We'll be okay," Kevin replied as he gave Rachel a glance that wasn't quite as friendly as usual. "Thank you, boss," Rachel quickly answered. "I'll head back up to my office. Enjoy your walk." Kevin turned around and smiled at Melody. "Everything's okay now. We'll be on our way." Then he and Lily headed to the shopping mall. When Kevin had gotten a little farther away, Melody finally came back to her senses and shouted loudly, "Hey, what's your name?" "My name is Kevin. Kevin Williams," he answered casually without even turning his head. After about half an hour, Kevin found a nice gift for his mother-in-law. Then he went up to his parents' apartment to visit with them. He let them know he was doing okay and chatted with them for a while. After they said their goodbyes, he followed Lily back to her new place. As soon as Kevin walked in the door, Dorothy got in his face and started scolding him. "What are you doing back here, you good-for-nothing? I thought you were still in jail. What did you do to get out so fast?" She took a breath and continued to berate him. "You're like a piece of gum on my shoe. I can't seem to get rid of you. Can't you see that Lily and I have already moved? You're not welcome here." Kevin was already used to being treated like this, so it just rolled off his back. Lily tried to calm her mother down and pleaded with her. "Mom, please don't talk about Kevin like that anymore. I was the one who found him and asked him to come back home with me." She was really afraid. It hadn't been easy for her to beg Kevin to agree to come back with her. What would happen if her mother made him leave again? "What did you just say? I must not have heard you right," Dorothy said in disbelief. "Are you sick or something?" "Mom, I'm very clear-headed now. Don't forget that Kevin is my husband. Now that he's been released, of course I'll take him back," Lily answered her mother very naturally. "What did I ever do to deserve such an unreasonable daughter? Just look at this freeloader. Is he that pleasing to you? Do you think he's some kind of treasure?" Dorothy shrieked louder and louder. Kevin scratched his head awkwardly and made a peace offering. "Mom, I brought you something." But Dorothy interrupted Kevin before he could finish what he was saying. She was so angry that her upper lip was quivering. "I don't want anything from you. Get out of here this instant and don't ever show your face here again. And you," she turned to Lily and squawked, "I want you to go and get your divorce papers tomorrow. From now on, this bum won't be allowed to step foot in my house." "Mom, what are you talking about? How could I ever divorce Kevin?" Lily answered quickly, even before her husband could speak. "Lily, are you on drugs or something?" Dorothy shouted as she tried to catch her breath. "Just open your eyes and take a good look at him. What does he have that's so special? Didn't you tell me that Nolan Hill was a good catch? You went out to dinner with him, but what happened then? He's got to be better than this deadbeat." When she heard Dorothy mention Nolan Hill, Lily got really nervous. She looked over at Kevin to see how he would react. When she saw that he wasn't upset, she said, "Mom, can you please not mention Nolan Hill? He means nothing to me." Dorothy didn't know anything about what had happened with Nolan. All she knew was that he'd sent Lily a lot of gifts. But she had no idea what happened after dinner with him, either the fight with Dalton or the one with Kevin. Lily had never mentioned any of it to her because she didn't want her mother to worry. So as far as Dorothy knew, Nolan was a great guy and a fine catch for her daughter. Lily sighed and decided to let Kevin have a seat before she explained everything to her mother. "Who told you that you could sit down?" Dorothy snapped at him. Kevin didn't answer her question. All he could do was let out a sigh as she continued to rant and rave. "Can't you hear me? I'm talking to you!" Dorothy complained when she saw that Kevin was ignoring her questions. "Come with me, Mom," Lily said as she grabbed Dorothy's hand and took her upstairs. Kevin sat patiently on the sofa and looked around the room. He had to admit that the place looked really nice. It was definitely worth the price. After about 10 minutes, Kevin got up and walked into the kitchen. He figured that as long as he had gotten back together with Lily, his anger would eventually fade away. And if the two of them were going to live together again, he should be a little more disciplined and do some of the cooking. He didn't want Dorothy to have anything to complain about. As he looked around the kitchen, he noticed a very nice porcelain mixing bowl. This would be much better for making herbal pills than cookies. It's big enough to make a huge batch, Kevin thought to himself. He opened the refrigerator door and took a look inside. The rest of the kitchen was well appointed too. Everything was Sub-Zero and Viking. Not bad. Once he'd had a good look around, Kevin took out the secret guide that the director had given him to prepare for his mission at the school. There were a lot of very talented people at the school for the healing arts. Because Kevin had absolutely no experience in undercover work, he was afraid that he might be discovered before he had a chance to carry out his plan, and it would be very difficult to escape from such skilled people. So Kevin figured it was time to put some more effort into his preparation for his mission. After reading the first few paragraphs, Kevin got very interested in what he found in the book. He started reading it aloud. Robbery is a question of good versus evil. Some people only care about themselves, so their evil deeds don't end well. Others think they're robbing the rich to give to the poor to bring justice to the world. What's this about? Aren't they just thieves? This book makes it all sound too simple, Kevin thought to himself. But the more he read, the more shocked he became. The book discussed theft as something carried out by both individuals and gangs. It also explained specific types of crimes. The tools mentioned in the guide ranged from blades to tweezers, but what they recommended was not using any mechanical devices at all. According to the book, your body was the best tool you could use. For example, you could simply use your fingers with a light touch. Kevin wondered if that's what pickpockets did. Other tips in the book sounded more like a magician's sleight of hand. Kevin had mixed emotions about what he was reading. He wondered what kind of people had written the book. After a while, he decided to go through the cabinets and whip up a meal for Lily and her mother. Luckily, the place was well stocked. When Dorothy and Lily came back downstairs again, Kevin enthusiastically brought out the meal that he'd prepared for them. Although Kevin didn't know what the two of them had been talking about, he could see that Dorothy looked a lot better now. After they finished eating, they went back to their rooms. The next morning, Lily patted Kevin gently on the cheek and cooed. "You really should get up soon. Otherwise, we'll be late for class." When he heard the word late, Kevin leapt out of bed, startling Lily. "Quick, put on your makeup," he exclaimed. "I'll go wash my face and brush my teeth right away." While Kevin was saying this, he quickly put on his clothes and rushed to the bathroom. He was deathly afraid of disappointing Professor Murdoch. He'd already run laps on his first day of school. If he was late today, who knew what kind of punishment he'd get? "Your breakfast is on the table. Go ahead and eat it while I put on my makeup," Lily declared as she picked up her mascara. Kevin almost swallowed his toothpaste when he heard her. He and Lily had been married for a long time, but this was the first time he remembered her having such a pleasant attitude. Sometimes Lily had been a little frosty with him, but now she'd suddenly become more gentle, and he wasn't used to it. They lucked out and didn't hit much heavy traffic on the way to campus. Kevin stepped into the classroom just before the bell rang. "Hey, why isn't Dalton here yet? Did he oversleep?" Kevin wondered as he headed to his seat. Professor Murdoch walked in with all her teaching materials and settled in at the podium. She was scheduled to teach them for the entire day, and the first topic was human anatomy. Because they were studying the preparation of medicinal herbs, she focused on the digestive system and the immune system. The professor tried to show how everything was affected by the natural remedies that they would learn about. Although her lecture was very serious and vivid, a lot of students weren't listening very attentively. Some of them just thought it would be fun to go back to school and hang out, and they weren't really interested in studying. Kevin checked to see if anyone was looking and sneaked his phone out of his pocket. He held it under his desk and lowered his eyes to see the screen so he could send Dalton a text to find out why he wasn't in class. The reply came back really fast. "This is Miranda. Kevin, come over here if you can. Dalton's back in the hospital." Kevin was shocked and wondered how this could have happened. Has Nolan's family done this? He had a lot of questions, and he sent a quick text to Miranda that just said, "How?" "It was Dominic and Gwen Archer," Miranda answered simply. What Kevin didn't know was that the Archers had always been jealous of Dalton's family. After the incident with his bar and the attempt to kidnap Miranda, they'd never reconciled. When Dominic found out that Dalton was going to study at the school for healing arts, he knew he had to strike first. He grabbed his men and headed to the Steele family's bar. Miranda and Norman happened to be there for some urgent business. Miranda stood up to him, but Dominic was intent on abducting her so he could force Dalton to hand over the bar to him. Of course, Norman wasn't going to stand for this, and a fight broke out. Ever since Dominic had taken Kevin's power pill, he'd made enormous physical progress. Norman had also made a lot of progress after taking his pill, but he was pretty old. So even though he managed to defeat Dominic, he ended up getting injured in the battle. Dalton had been on campus with Kevin when all of this happened. After he got home, he saw that his grandfather was injured and his temper flared. He grabbed all the men he had and rushed over to the Archer's family mansion. Unfortunately, Dominic had set a trap for Dalton. After a fierce battle, Dalton had some nasty flesh wounds and his men were also injured. Fortunately, they were all very tough, and there were no fatalities. Kevin was despondent when he read Miranda's text. He immediately sent Gwen Archer a message and asked her, "How the hell could you do that to the Steele family?" Before he could read her reply, a lithe hand suddenly reached down and snatched Kevin's phone away. Kevin jumped up from his chair and was face to face with Professor Murdoch. He saw her stern expression. He knew he was in big trouble. "Professor, what's going on?" Kevin pretended to be confused. "Gotcha!" Professor Murdoch sneered. This was even worse than the first day of class.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.